Okay, here we go.
Here we go.
Let's hear you.
So I wasn't really upset about the post. I wasn't upset about it itself. I was more upset in the sense that it kind of forced me to rethink a lot of what I've been doing, my practices, what I've been learning. And it just kind of really forced me to think back and say, okay, so if this is what evidential means, and this is what I had already been doing, then what does this other stuff fit?
Yeah. And the other stuff being, what's the other stuff?
Healing, for example. I think that is one of my main, before being a tarot reader or a coach of any kind or anything like that, I consider myself a healer, because that's always the goal I have, the intention I have in mind when I speak with people. You want to leave them better than before they.
Absolutely. And and the healing goes verbal or non-verbal, doesn't it? Because I always say with mediumship and psychic work, we heal with our words. But if you do other healing, I imagine it's non-verbal. That's what you mean by healing? It's like the hands-on or the remote, like Reiki and things like that. Is that what you mean?
Right. So I am a usually Reiki master.
Okay.
And so, funny enough, it's not supposed to be verbal, but a lot of the time when I am doing the healing, I do pick up messages from the energy body, and
of course
I started to think, okay, I'll tell people about it and to see kind of how that goes. And it turns out it resonates, and people say, that's what I've been feeling and what I've been going through, and
that's evidence.
Is that psychic? Is that evidence?
Yes. That's how I started too. Because I started off as a healer and aromatherapist, and I would do massages and I'd pick up things from, and after a while I couldn't help but say it. And if you think, and I love that it's raised questions for you, and and I, in a way, I'm very excited that it has pushed you out of your comfort zone, because that was my intention, to raise some questions and go, well, what is it that I'm doing? And where is it coming from? And how much is me and how much is some nebulous third party that I don't really know what it is? Because if we can be completely honest, I don't know that many people, the universe. Well, what is that? What is it for you? I'm not saying you're wrong, but how would someone define the universe? That's the question I want to raise. And I'm not asking. I'm not. It's just like, let's explore that. So let's just define this. The information that you're getting, this is understanding the mechanics of what psychic is. And all psychic is your energy field intersecting with another energy field. That's it. Your soul intersecting with another soul, if you want to put it that way. Right? So information transfers almost like by osmosis, if you like. There is an energy, there's information transfer. Just like how we know if our best friend's not feeling well, or the text is going to come. Or it's because our energy fields are blended. That's it. So, of course, you're getting information.
Yeah.
And you're relaying
it. Beautifully explained. Yeah, that's beautifully explained.
Yeah.
It is. And it kind of takes you a little bit away from the question as well of, well, where does the gift come from? And where does the spirit team step in? And the ancestors, is that mediumship or not? And how evidential is it if a great uncle shows up and the person doesn't know anything about it? It's a big question.
I know. I understand. I've opened up a giant can of whoopee on this, but it's great that we're asking these questions. So does that make you feel better about the work that you're doing? You realize it totally is,
Yeah, definitely. I feel that in my journey, the first time I really heard the word evidential came from actually one of your students, Abby, who is
Abby Kong-Pylon. Yes, beautiful medium.
I love her. Yeah. And the work that she does is so beautiful. And I kind of thought, okay, but so she's an evidential medium and she's so proud of it. And am I an evidential psychic? Where is the bar, right? That's
yeah. Well, if and my current understanding is, and also remember that especially in Australia, we're not regulated. There's no regulating body. There's no psychic police. That in one way that's good, but in another way, anybody can say they're psychic and not be held to any level of accountability. So then it falls to ourselves to be accountable. So when we say, look, we don't give advice and we don't give guidance, we don't give future predictions, it's because you can't prove it. It's not evidential. So we talk about things about the person, things that are happening around them, issues from the past, issues in the present, their hobbies, their likes, all the stuff that you'd be getting anyway, and trust that. And here's where the message comes in and the guidance embedded in it, in the evidence, is think about all your life experiences, however old you are, you've probably had 17 trillion little mini experiences and big ones too. That the thing that you as a psychic pick up on, the thing that that person's soul is offering, is the exact information that that person needs to be reminded of. And that's where the guidance comes in. But that's an art form, right? And that's the craft that we hone. So if you're doing that and you're not telling fortunes, or you're not predicting, and you're not diagnosing, because we're not medical people, and depending on the laws in your country too, certainly strong laws in the UK. I mean, we used to be under the Witchcraft Act, until just after the war. So we've come a long way in 50, 70 years. So let's talk about the spirit team, because I know that was your question as well. You were taught that there was a spirit team there that kind of did all the heavy lifting, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think now?
It's kind of a mixed bag, because I do sense people around a lot of the time, and I would never dare to call myself a medium, and I would never offer mediumship with the level of training I have now.
Oh no, I don't mean mediumship. I mean as far as the psychic work. When you said you did that course and you were told that there was a spirit team, which consists, they were the ones that gave you the information. Because I'm trying to say, where do you identify the source of it?
Yeah, so that's where I was explained that the information came from the person's spirit guides, ancestors,
right,
angels, and so on.
Okay.
And so it's complicated, because I have the sense that there are people showing up for the person in a lot of the readings that I do. And sometimes they like to introduce themselves, sometimes they don't. Very little of the information I give really comes from the cards or whatever tool I'm using. So it almost feels, and you were right. It's you're so humble to think, oh, this is my gift and this is what I am doing. And it's more comfortable to say, okay, well, I can sense that there are people or whomever is here, and also they are giving me this information, and I'm perceiving it in whatever different ways I do.
Okay, so let's tackle that one. There's no doubt that we all have a spirit team, absolutely. Okay, but they don't do the heavy lifting, you do. So it's your connection, because psychic work, remember, is just someone who's living. So if you're doing a reading for me, all you're doing is blending your energy field with mine and receiving that information, interpreting it and giving it. That's it. There's no spirit team, there's no third party. There's even though they are there, they don't do the work. It's not like, but let me just also backtrack, because 30, 50, 70 years ago, that's what everyone was taught. That there's this whole network, and you sit here and then your guides tell you this, and then your dead granny tells you that, and it's like Chinese whispers all the way down the line. that's no longer accepted as true. And it's quite clumsy. We have a direct connection to that information, but we must attribute that to our own connection, because that's the only place we can take responsibility for it. You can't say, oh, well, my guides told me to say this. No, you know, and I know you don't do that, but I know some people can. So yes, your spirit team is there, but in a psychic reading, it is soul to soul, and that is soul of you and soul of me. If I'm your recipient, that's it. And there's nothing else. Yes, you have a spirit team, but you cannot say, oh, I'm using my spirit team, because as soon as you do, you've got to prove who your spirit team is. You know, it's like it's a spiritual bypass.
You can't do that.
You can't. But and then it's like, well, I know I've got a spirit team. I don't know who they are, but I know, you know, we've all got one, and that's my goal, is to expand my own development, my own awareness, my own connection to a point where maybe one day I do get to see them, but I know that they're there in the meantime. But I never say, oh, my spirit team. No. Does that so it's not that you don't have them, it's that you're probably you're working on your own beautiful connection, and that's it. Yeah. And of course you would sense the spirit world, and you would probably sense the grandma around someone, because of course they'd be there. Yeah. But whether or not you choose to develop that aspect of your work, that's up to you. And one day, you know, there's no doubt the spirit world comes and they're present, but that's mediumship. So as soon as we talk about someone who's not living now here, and it's a grandfather, grandmother, whatever, that's mediumship. How's that sit?
That's beautifully explained, actually.
It's simple.
The extra stuff, because there's a lot of extra stuff out there.
Yeah. Oh, there is, and people want to make it super complicated, and you know, the blinding truth is that it's very, very simple, and I want to make it simple. But in that comes the question of, oh, is it me? Oh, you know, and there's an acceptance of, yes, it is me. And that's one little hurdle, especially if you know, you don't trust yourself, or you're not sure, you're shy. Like, it took me 10 years to even open my mouth. So I get it. I was super shy and I did not want to do it. And I got pushed into it by the spirit world, which is another story. But, you know, so I get that. And then the other thing is then, oh, if I do open my mouth, I better be responsible for everything I say.
You know, Denise, I appreciate this, because I've had a client walk into my home sobbing because a psychic told her that her son was going to die in 2 weeks.
Oh my God. This is why we don't do predictions. Yeah.
Right. Or that kind of prediction, at least. I mean, you want to read energy, you want to do whatever you want to do, but I appreciate that evidential part now, as you explained it in your live. It doesn't knock on anybody's beliefs. Everybody is allowed to believe, you know, in you know, angels and spirit world and whatever it is, but we do have a responsibility when we are sitting with someone and they expect us to be an authority in the work that we do.
Yeah, completely. So, yeah. So do you feel okay about posting your offers now in the group? Because it looks perfect to me from what you said.
I think that I need to rethink some things that I've implemented into my work over the last year.
Which would be what?
I've gotten accustomed to some rituals, I suppose, you know, pre-reading, which includes grounding, of course, is very important, but then, you know, welcoming the person's spirit team and, you know, all of that stuff, which really draws a lot of energy out.
Oh my God, you don't need to do any of that.
Right. And so I honestly feel like I need to rethink a lot of what I'm offering right now, and the things that I've been implementing into my work.
Yeah, I understand that, you know, I mean, ritual is great if it gets you in the mindset, but it's not a spirit, there's not a supernatural or a paranormal aspect to it. It might just be, you know, for me, I come in, I turn my lights on, I shut the door, I make sure I've got a drink, that's it. Because as soon as we put our mind to, as soon as we just bring our awareness to the soul of another person, or feel like, yes, I'm working, boom, it's there. And we don't need a lot.
You're right. And now, as you say this, I wonder how much of that is affecting the fact that I do sense the spirit world showing up before my readings.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
it can be a
They
big
do.
reading. And
Yep.
is it necessary? Maybe it's not.
They do. They turn up. Especially during a healing, you would have experienced that too. Often, even when as soon as someone schedules a healing, you can feel their you know, their energy, their whoever it is, spirit. I just call it spirit because I'm not going to try and work out who it is, but you can sense the energy building, you know, and there's a change in the room and all that. That's the presence of spirit. But then do we go and attribute that to guides or ancestors or archetypes or angels? That's where it gets sticky, because we can't actually prove that. Yes, we can say, I'm sensing the spirit world. Yes, I can feel the spirit world with me, absolutely, without doubt. But going further than that, we better be sure we can back that up.
That makes sense. And to answer your question, yeah, I feel comfortable posting on Wednesdays again. I think for me was the question of what is evidential? Is what I'm doing evidential?
Yes.
Showing somebody a card is not evidence, but I know people can feel it. People leave my readings and they're touched, and I know they are. And some people are, you're gonna make me cry again. And I do have a lot of return clients. And
that's it. And our job is to touch souls, you know, and so we do that by opening our own soul first. So if you're doing this work with an open soul, where you have sat down and dedicated your awareness to another person for the 10, 15, 20 minutes, and you're able to bring in one bit of information that goes straight to their heart, chop down. So I know that we have to wrap up now, and I just want to say thank you so much for meeting with me. I want you to post in joy and confidence, and welcome anyone else to do the same. So I hope it's helped anyone who's watching this as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I just have to say, I feel more psychic today than I've felt in the last 30 years. So
awesome. All right, I'll stop recording now.